So I own a diesel repair shop and I see customers come in and out of the shop every single day. And here are the 5 bad habits that customers do every day that destroy their engine 3 times faster. Habit number 1 is not changing their oil on time. Over time, your oil gets contaminated with dirt and debris and other things that are in the engine, which can accelerate wear and tear on the moving parts in your engine. We see a lot of customers come in that don't change their oil for 20 or 30,000 miles, and they almost every single time have a lifter tick or actual catastrophic engine failure. Pretty much every single time we see that. We recommend you change your oil every 3 to 5,000 miles on every single diesel truck. I feel like it is slightly more important to change your oil more often on a 7.3 and a 6.0 power stroke, since it is a HUE style injection system, so they are oil driven injectors, which means they use the oil a little bit more heavily than like a 6.7 or a 6.4 power stroke, but it's still, regardless, 3 to 5,000 miles every single oil change. Habit number 2 is lack of fuel filter changes and lack of fuel additives. In the United States, the diesel fuel quality is not very great, so failing to change your fuel filters on time and not adding any additive can really hurt the longevity of your fuel system. Changing your fuel filters and adding fuel additive is a little bit more important on the newer diesels like the 6.7 power strokes and some 6.7 Cummins that have the CP4 pump, and really any common rail or fuel injected system. It's more important to change your fuel filters and add an additive. For the 6.7 power strokes, I recommend changing your fuel filters every oil change or every other oil change, and I typically run some sort of additive every single tank. For this exact example, I actually got a bottle behind me here. We run the BG Lubricity, so this stuff is actually good. The bottle will actually get me 3 to 6 tanks, and it lasts me quite a while for how much I drive. If you're a hot shotter, you're gonna use a little bit more, but for how much I drive, it's perfect. One bottle only costs, I think it's like $18.99. If you do the math on that, it's like $5 to $6 a fill up if you're doing 3, and if it's 6, it's like $2 to $3 a tank, which how much money is gonna save you in the long run is definitely worth it. We really stand behind BG product stuff. We're a dealer for them. We don't manufacture the product. We just use the products on our own personal vehicles, and we sell it to customers at our shop, and we sell it online, and we really stand behind their product because they really believe in their product. So if you guys want to get a bottle of the BG additive, you guys can, in the link in the description down below. Habit number 3 is letting your truck idle all day. Now this mainly goes for people that still have the DPF and EGR system on their truck. The DPF has 2 regions, an active and a passive region. An active region is when the computer raises exhaust temperatures to burn off all that additional soot in the DPF. A passive region is when the truck is able to burn off the soot from naturally raising the exhaust gases from driving or towing heavily or just a long road trip. An active region is a lot harder on the engine since the computer has to raise the exhaust gases for the engine, and it can in turn on some diesel trucks actually melt and crack pistons. The reason letting your truck idle all day is bad for it is because that soot gets collected in the DPF a lot more than when you're actually driving the vehicle. So letting it idle all day or letting it idle a long time in the morning will actually clog your DPF way faster than if you actually just drive the diesel truck. And you're quite literally just letting your diesel engine choke on its own exhaust gases all day basically, and you're not really relieving the diesel engine of the exhaust gases. And this over time will actually soot up the intake manifolds and basically anything air related on the diesel engine and cause air restrictions. So the best way to prevent this is just get in your truck, turn it on, let it idle for like 10, 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds if you have a DPF, and then put it in gear and drive it normally. That's exactly how you should do it, and try to avoid short road trips. So like anything 10 minutes or shorter, try to just avoid that. Now if you actually have to, if you're going to work every day or something like that, then that's okay, but just really try to avoid shorter road trips because that's how you go into active region a lot more often. Now for a deleted diesel, you can kind of do what as you please. For me personally, I don't let my trucks idle at all. I just get in them and slam it into gear. One, because I'm in a hurry all the time, so I don't really feel the need to sit there and let it warm up for 10, 20 minutes. I just usually get in my diesel trucks, start them up, do what I gotta do, and then 10 seconds, 20 seconds, put it in gear and go drive it. In my 7.3 power stroke, I do that all the time, and they don't even have a DPF, and my truck's got 380,000 miles and doesn't have a single oil leak or no problems with it. So I really don't think it is 100% necessary to let any diesel idle all day or idle for super long times. I just don't see it necessary 100%, and I really don't think it increases longevity. Now, if it's like super cold, like negatives, then maybe letting it warm up a little bit longer will help, but I still think with the DPF system, you need to get in your truck and drive it. Habit number 4 is using cheap tuning or tuning that does not make your truck run properly. I see a lot of these kids out there slapping limiter tunes on their trucks and just huge max effort tunes that just blow a ton of smoke. At the end of the day, the tunes that roll the most smoke really are not good for the truck at all. And I would say 50% of our customer base that comes in with catastrophic engine failure or something wrong with their injectors or something related to the tuning typically happens because of the hot tuning and the bad tuning that is on the truck. And majority of the time they got the tuning off of some guy on Facebook Marketplace that's had 1 year of experience and does the tuning out of his garage. Now I'm not saying that all guys on Facebook Marketplace that do tuning are bad. I'm just saying saying that a lot of these guys out there that are doing the marketplace tuning, they're doing it out of the garage, they're doing it without any research, without any sort of backing, experimenting on the tuning. That's why I recommend getting your tuning from someone reputable like Gearhead or AMDP, because they have thousands and millions of dollars worth invested into the research and development of these tunes, especially like Banks Tuning as well. They have tons of money sunk into their tuning. They dyno test their tuning. They drive their trucks with the tuning on it for thousands and thousands of miles to make sure the tuning is good before they just go slap it on customers' trucks. A lot of the times when customers come in, we ask them, what kind of tuning did you have on the truck? And a lot of the times whenever the customer has a bad engine failure or something of that nature, it is usually something with the tuning. When I was in high school, I used to think that rolling coal was awesome and everything like that, and I thought it was super cool, but now that I gotten older and I drive diesel trucks every day and I actually am in the performance world of the diesel trucks, I realized that rolling coal is just unburnt diesel fuel, and it's less efficient, hurts the engine in the long run, and also decreases fuel economy. So the cleaner the tune is, usually the better running a diesel truck is, and I really try to push for cleaner, more efficient tuning versus like a tune that's really smoky, really laggy, just an all-around not fun tune to drive. So really just make sure that you get the right tuning for your vehicle. We sell Gearhead tuning in the description down below. You guys can get it for your 6.0 or your 7.3, and we don't really dabble into 6.7 tuning as much because it's not really what we like to do just for regulation purposes. Habit number 5 is failing to change the crankcase ventilation filter, and this mainly refers to newer diesels and is actually one of the most common filters that do not get changed. The crankcase filter helps clean the blow-by gases before it enters back into your intake, which can help minimize engine wear. However, when you fail to change this filter, the filter becomes clogged, which increases blow-by. And this is one of the main causes of oil leaks on the newer diesels, because the blow-by has to go somewhere and it finds the first weakest seal that it goes out of. So if you fail to change your crankcase ventilation filter, odds are that the blow-by is going to go somewhere like your rear main seal or your upper oil pan, and that's how you start getting these upper oil pan leaks in your 6.7s, or it's how you start getting these rear main seal leaks and all these other oil leaks that are caused by lack of crankcase ventilation filter changes. If you take your truck to another shop other than mine, I would recommend, if they quote you out an oil pan job and you have not changed your crankcase ventilation filter and they do not quote you out a crankcase ventilation filter, I highly recommend you guys do not do the job with that shop, just because you are going to eventually have that seal blow back out again if you do not change the crankcase filter with the upper oil pan leak or the rear main seal leak. We recommend you change your crankcase ventilation filter every 40 to 50,000 miles to help prevent the crankcase filter clogging up and causing blow-by and eventually causing oil leaks and excessive wear on your engine. If you guys want to get this crankcase ventilation filter or any of the maintenance parts that I talked about in this exact video, you guys can, in the link in the description down below, where I'll link our website. You can buy everything on there. Or if you guys want to get some maintenance work done, you guys can bring it into our automotive shop, 979-575-0024.